Hello, my name is Donovan, and this is the Aethercast Report. This is a show where we talk about video games and basically the things surrounding the industry or news, like new things that are coming up. Today, we are going to be discussing Pokemon, the things surrounding the franchise, the things that we like, dislike, and also our thoughts on the trailer for Gen 10. Today, I have two guests. I didn't even think of how I'm going to introduce you guys. First, I have one of probably my longest time friend, Xander. Xander has been a longtime friend of mine and a longtime Pokemon fan.
Here and there.
Yeah. My other guest, another longtime friend, not quite as long, but still a really long time, Chance.
Hi.
He's a longtime Pokemon fan. Yeah. He's a longtime Pokemon fan and Pokemon hater at this point.
I mean, it's slightly more nuanced than that. I like Gen 3 and I like Sword and Shield, and that's pretty much it at this point.
Yeah, we'll get into Scarlet and Violet later. But first, what I wanted to talk about, there's a bunch of topics I wanted to get into, but I kind of want to start off with our history with the franchise. I think we'll start with Chance. How was it with you growing up with Pokemon?
I like Gen 3.
Good start.
I played through all of Emerald, and then I didn't play any Pokemon for a lot of years until Sword and Shield. I mean, I guess I played Colosseum, but Colosseum is also technically Gen 3, I think.
Yeah, it is.
So I actually really like Sword and Shield. But we'll talk about Scarlet and Violet after.
Fair.
It's a teaser for later.
All right. Xander.
Yeah, actually, my introduction to Pokemon was, well, kind of around the same as anybody else's. The anime was definitely the biggest thing that started me off. But as for the games, believe it or not, I was actually introduced to it through the N64 game Pokémon Stadium. That was my introduction, and probably the only game I played for many years until well into my adult life before I actually started playing the others out there.
I played the mini games in Stadium.
Oh yeah.
For me, my first Pokemon game that I actually played through was Pokemon Sapphire. I remember playing Red or Blue on a Game Boy that I borrowed for a little bit, but the one that I truly got into was Sapphire for the first time, and of course, I was probably a big Pokemon fan even before that, with the anime, because, you know, a lot of us at that age were really into the anime. I stopped playing Pokemon, not because I didn't want to, but because I didn't get a DS after that. And the next Pokemon game I got into was actually Y, where they introduced Mega Evolution. So I'm a big advocate for the Mega Evolutions, and I'm not a fan of the gimmicks that came after that. Some of them are okay. That's basically my history with it ever since Y I became a bigger fan of Pokemon. So how do we feel about Pokemon in its current state?
Not great.
I feel like it's definitely in this weird, like, trying new things, not quite finding its footing that's satisfying everybody at this point. But I wouldn't say it's in a bad spot.
I think one of the things that they were having issues with is, for the longest time, one of the biggest complaints about Pokemon is that it doesn't innovate or change. But now that they're innovating and changing, people aren't liking the changes.
As an outsider looking in, I've noticed that the Pokemon fandom kind of has this weird, like, this idea that, you know, everything that's different is bad, and they hate on it. But then give it a few years, and then all of a sudden they call it like a gem, a diamond in the rough, or something like that.
Yeah.
I actually recently found out that during its release, Gen 3 was actually hated on quite a bit, despite now being referred to as almost the standard. So it's kind of weird, but I'm just kind of like wait and see how things are before I kind of listen to what other people say. At this point in time, I'm okay with how everything is as of right now, but there's definitely room for improvement.
Go ahead, Chance. I'm letting you off your leash.
Okay.
Here we go.
It's time for the Scarlet and Violet slander. It ran like garbage. It looked like garbage. It was just like really not special. one of my personal things that just really annoys me, and this is nothing to do with the game, it just bothers me because it's a design flaw. It's the fucking, is it Koraidon? Is that the one that has legs and wheels?
Yeah.
Yeah, it annoys me because it has wheels and still chooses to run.
I actually wholeheartedly agree with that one.
Yeah, that just seems like a weird design choice, even by my standards.
They make Miraidon look like a bike, but with Koraidon, he just runs. Your complaints about Scarlet and Violet are true and valid. I, however, despite those things, I still like the game. I think it's fun. I like the story. The Pokemon designs I feel like are really strong. Some of them not so much, but we did get some really good Pokemons this time. I think Terra as a gimmick isn't that bad. I think it's okay. It gets Met Hat, which is kind of silly, but
Okay, so I will say I really, really like mismatching typings with the
Terra.
Terrestrialite.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it looks so fucking stupid.
Also, it takes forever for the animation to finish, which is never fun.
Yeah, that too.
And actually, speaking of the performance, I actually just tried it on the Switch too, just recently, and it ran smooth as butter.
Yeah, that makes me question what was going on the development side of things, because as you guys mentioned, it's poorly optimized for the Switch 1, but it was built for that system. I would get it if it was like, maybe some stuttering here and there, but what I've seen is like, texture pop-ins, like frame rate going down into, in some cases, almost single digits, and some really bad design choices.
Not just that, but some NPCs, like if you were more than 5 feet away from them, they would switch to like a 2D low poly version of themselves where they go 2 frames a second.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the low poly model from Super Mario 64 back in the day. I understand that they were changing up the formula a little bit on this one, going from a less linear to a more open world style, kind of taking some cues from Legends Arceus, which I thoroughly enjoyed that game in and of itself. But I don't know what happened or where it got lost in translation, but it just seemed like it was not optimized at all. Like, almost as if this thing was pushed way faster than it should have been. Like, it should have been in the oven to cook a little longer.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have 2 theories on that. One, the Switch is just not a strong piece of hardware, like, at all, even, like, when it first came out, because Breath of the Wild had some performance issues every now and then. It still runs great for the most part, but there are some moments where the frame dips quite a bit. And that's with a game that actually got its development time. With Pokemon, I strongly believe that Pokemon Company does not give Game Freak long enough to work on their games.
There's that, but in terms of performance, we also know that, Nintendo, ever since the GameCube, they kind of split away from being able to keep up with the competition, i.e. PlayStation and Xbox, to kind of do their own thing and make their own audience, which, kudos to them. But yeah, something like this definitely felt like it should have been on better hardware to begin with. And I agree with you that it is probably just kicked out way too early than it should have been.
Yeah, because when they announced Scarlet and Violet, they also announced Pokemon Arceus. They came out in the same year, so they had to have been working it out at the same time, or one after another.
That makes me wonder if that their latest project that they're working on, not 10th Gen, but one game that's not even Pokemon related, is had anything to do with that. Like if they were doing it, like having like a split 3-way where, working on Arceus, working on Scarlet and Violet, and like some team doing like pre-production for that game. What are your thoughts on this,
What's that game
Chance?
called? I can't remember.
My thing is that it's called Beast of Reincarnation, since you
Right.
asked.
Yeah.
And it looks fucking amazing.
Yeah, it does.
I don't think it's going to be like the best game ever made, but in comparison to every other thing that I've seen from Game Freak, which granted is Pokemon, it's a problem how much of a disparity there is, because it shows that their team can do something good if they're allowed to. However, it seems like they're not being allowed to by Pokemon Company.
Well, believe it or not, there was a time when they were working on games other than Pokemon. And even now and then, they'll come out with a game that's not Pokemon. Like in 2019, they came out with Little Town Hero. I don't know how well that game went, but their main thing is Pokemon, but sometimes they'll do other things.
Yeah, because I've never heard of it, and as far as I understood, Game Freak only did Pokemon. So when Beast of Reincarnations was announced, it definitely threw me for a loop seeing that logo on it.
Yeah, surprised everyone.
As for it being good, so to speak, like Chance, what criteria are you placing that under? Just graphically superior, or is there something about like gameplay mechanics that looks much more interesting to you than whatever they put in Pokemon?
It is entirely different, so you can't really compare it. It's like a Souls-like fight stuff game versus turn-based RPG Pokemon style, which has been the same thing for 20 years.
Yeah, true.
With some variation.
That's for, yes, Arceus and ZA, which I have my own ZA complaints, but I didn't play it because I hold less water.
I did as well. I'm about a few hours into it.
I did watch a few reviews that gave some very compelling arguments for it not being great.
I mean, for me personally, I think Legends EA is a lot of fun. It has, for me, an addictive game loop, and I don't know. I have very few complaints about it personally.
One thing that I saw, which you two can probably tell me if I'm right or wrong on this, is that the combat, instead of being strategic, feels more like you're just waiting for the button to let you use it again.
I can see where that complaint comes from,
points.
and
Yeah,
it does feel like that at times. Just kind of depends on what you're fighting. There are times whenever there's so much going on my screen, I have absolutely no idea what's going on. So I'm just like pushing whatever button says, "Oh, it's effective. Hit it, hit it, hit it."
yeah, but I mean that's going to go into like the Pokemon building aspect of it. Like you choose your moves not based off of what it does, like how much power it has, but also how quickly it recharges.
I mean, I can see that. I see why they made it as a time limit, is to get rid of the whole PP system. Because let's face it, a lot of moves, a lot of Pokemon players that I've talked to, PP is not really much of an entity as much, especially in the later games, due to the fact that there's usually a Pokemon Center right around the corner in some areas.
It's still used in competitive though.
Yeah, but this is me talking from a casual experience. Like you play the story, that's as far as you go. I'm not big into the competitive scene because, one, I don't know anybody in that scene, and two, it just I'm not fully like 100% good on the mechanics to really be a contender on that.
With Legends EA, I do enjoy the free form of it. I would prefer if there was a game where you actually directly controlled the Pokemon rather than command it. I do like the change of pace with ZA, but just going further probably with the next Legends title would be cool.
It's kind of funny you mentioned that because there is a Pokemon game that kind of follows that mindset, but it's a very limited roster, and it was Pokkén.
Pokkén Tournament, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I finally got my hands on a copy of that and was playing around with it, and I actually like the fighting components. I just wish there was a bit larger roster.
Yeah.
Granted, I understand that game was built for the Wii U. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but...
Well, it was built for arcade first, and then they made a console version of it with the Wii U, and then they ported over that version over to the Switch with some of the updates that the arcade version got that the Wii U never got.
Okay, yeah, I got the Switch version, so yeah. I mean, that's kind of more like what I was looking into, but yeah, I also see what you mean about, just going forward with the Legends and just kind of tweaking that as we go. It'd be kind of nice if you could switch to like the original version if you wanted to.
I do like the idea that they're using the Legend titles as a way to experiment with different gameplay elements.
Oh, they're going to have to. If they try to do it in a mainline Pokemon game and if it turns out to be total rubbish, then... Okay, ass as you put it. Yeah, then it'll definitely sit there and hinder the game that's supposed to sell like over 1 million units, worldwide. And I don't think the Pokemon Company really wants to take that risk with a mainline title. So the Legends game is definitely a perfect playground for.
To be fair, though, Scarlet and Violet has proved that even if they do experiment, it's going to sell anyways. Look how ass Scarlet and Violet was, and it still sold like the most out of any Pokemon title.
You know, that actually kind of brings up the idea about the fan base itself, because I've heard multiple times that when it comes to Pokemon fans, you're kind of, at this point in time, you're kind of in two categories. You're either in the category of you'll accept anything Pokemon related, whether it's gold or slop, and you'll do it with a smile on your face. Or you're going to hate everything that they put out in like the last 15, 20 years.
I feel like there's more nuance to that with me, but you know.
Yeah, I'm in there. I'm in between. Like, I really, really like Sword and Shield. I thought it was fantastic. It is the only reason I bought Scarlet and Violet, and then I was disappointed by that, which is why I'm so mad about it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Bear this in mind, I've heard that opinion just kind of floating around on the internet. It's not something that I believe in, because that implies that you're a very narrow thinker, or narrow-minded thinker, excuse me. But I've also noticed that the Pokemon community can be very toxic when it comes to just about anything in this, really. Whether it be, constructive criticism seems to be a little harder to come across rather than just everybody being in an echo chamber.
Yeah, like people actually trying to give constructive feedback rather than just blindly praising it or blindly hating it.
Exactly. But then again, there's probably plenty of people who have constructive criticisms, and like me, they're just lurkers. So, who knows?
All right, Chance. What would you, like, if you had full control to do whatever you want to Scarlet and Violet to fix it, what would you do?
To that game?
Yeah, to that game specifically.
That's tough. So there's this trend with Nintendo games specifically, where they have been trying to open world everything, where you don't really have like any constraints and you can go everywhere and just do whatever you want. And it's like kind of a problem. Like, once Breath of the Wild came out, and it just sold more than any other Zelda game, I think, actually. They went, oh, this is working. So we must do it with every game that we own. So and
I don't think Arceus really helped with that either.
They've been open worlding every game, and I think that a lot of the problems I have with Scarlet and Violet are because they made it too open. So bring back some linearity, I think, would help.
I think one issue I have with that part of Scarlet and Violet is they marketed it as open world. You can go wherever you want. You can do whatever you want in any order that you want to. But honestly, really, you can't. Every level is fixed, and if you try going for what is the 8th gem, you're gonna get destroyed.
Yeah, everything is basically level gated. It's just, you run into an area and things are too high level for you, and then you go, whale shit.
Isn't that the whole antithesis against open world in the first place?
Kinda. I mean, in a way. But like with Breath of the Wild, you can go in whatever direction you want, and it's not gonna gate you with anything really. So with Pokemon, you have to do things in somewhat of an order in order to meet the level requirements, or not be too low level to actually accomplish what you're doing there, or what you're trying to do there.
Yeah, there's definitely an order that you're supposed to be doing it in, and it just kind of makes it all a goopy mess. Scarlet and Violet is a goopy mess. That's what you can take from this conversation.
Definitely. I feel like Arceus definitely handled that a lot better, because rather than sitting there being like, oh, you have this huge, vast open world that even your hardware couldn't even render, you're given much smaller areas to run around in, but it's still in a more linear fashion.
I was kind of disappointed that they did Arceus by like stages rather than it being a full open thing, but I can understand that probably being the better direction to go in for that kind of game.
Well, it's also in regards to being able to render everything correctly and have a performance to be able to do it, because let's have a look at ZA, for instance. One of the biggest complaints is the fact that the open world area it's kind of bland, and there's no real textures on any of the buildings. Everything looks like a JPEG, and I'm looking at that, and it's like, yeah, I can understand why, because it's a huge open world city. It's got to render all these NPCs and Pokemon wandering around the place with items lying around everywhere. So naturally, they had to cut corners in order to make sure that it could run on the Switch 1, because at the end of the day, it's a Switch 1 game. Granted, you could play it on the Switch 2 with better performance, but it was built for the original hardware.
Chance actually told me something that kind of blew my mind about that the other day. Chance, go ahead and tell me what you told me again.
Are you familiar with culling in video games? The process of culling things?
I'm familiar with the word, but not in the process of video games.
Okay, so what it means in specifically the purview of video games is making it to where things that aren't actively appearing on your screen just don't exist. Like if your camera's not pointing that way, or if it's too far away, it'll get culled out and there'll be a lower texture thing that takes its place, and it'll look fine because it's really far away.
Mm-hmm.
ZA doesn't do that.
No, everything is rendered in real time, right then and there. And I know what you're talking about. If I remember correctly, Monster Hunter Wilds did the same thing, but because the fact that the engine, the RE engine, wasn't built with that in mind, that's why they were having some serious like texture pop-ins, even when you quickly turned the camera around.
Oh, I didn't hear about that actually.
Oh, I heard that on launch. Trust me, it was kind of a. Hang around the Steam reviews, you'll see what I'm talking about.
But yeah, in Pokemon ZA, they're literally loading the entire map the entire time. That's why it's basically JPEGs on the walls.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's all that they could spare to get it to run.
But what I rather enjoy, honestly, is the level of detail they put into like the NPCs, the posters, and the video stuff all around the Lumio City. It's actually quite nice. At most of the time, I don't even notice the building textures anymore. I'm just paying attention to the smaller stuff.
There's quite a bit to look at in ZA. That's real pretty. But I can understand the graphic complaints. I don't really play the game for the graphics. It does look kind of crispy in some places, but the gameplay is strong enough for me to ignore whatever complaints I would have about graphics.
As a casual fan, most of the time I'm playing a Pokemon game to find my favorite Pokemon and hang out with them in new ways. You know, I'm not looking to sit there and have it the best looking game or the best strategies to take out various different types of opponents and stuff like that. I'm just looking to hang out with cute and cuddly creatures.
I do like how ZA seems to be like this mark of a return to Megas, because obviously it introduced a bunch of new Mega Pokemon that weren't there before. With Pokemon Champions, it's actually in the marketing material that you're going to be able to do Megas and also Gigantamax, which is really cool. And also Terra, so they're bringing all the gimmicks into Champions, it seems. Do you guys know anything about Champions?
Not at all. Actually, my introduction to it was during the Pokemon stream, so I'm not too familiar with it.
It's basically going to be the next Pokemon Stadium in a way. It'll have interaction, like direct interaction with home. You bring your Pokemon in, you can battle with them against players online. Also maybe bots, but I'm not really sure about that. Rather than it having EVs and IVs, they have their own way of training Pokemon in the game, I think. I have to read more up on that one at least. But yeah, it's basically going to be another Pokemon battle simulator.
Like that?
Yeah, that'll be cool.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I'm still kind of a fan of, being able to play the game on like your system or something like that. But with the rise of mobile gaming, it does make sense.
Well, okay, so it's going to be on the Switch first. I don't know about.
I thought it was.
I don't know if it's. Well, it'll be on mobile eventually.
Okay.
Yeah, so you'll be able to play on the Switch. You'll be able to play on mobile. It's going to be on the Switch first.
Is it going to be like a free-to-play type game, or is it going to be something you purchase and you actually have some content?
I actually don't know. I think it will be free-to-play, but I can't say for sure.
Yeah, because we had like Pokemon Unite that was free-to-play.
Yeah, I still like Pokemon Unite, to be honest.
I need to sit down and play that more. I'm more of a fan of the cafe mix myself, but
I haven't played that one.
Yeah, it's something you can play on your Steam or your Switch, excuse me. But you can only play it in handheld mode because it does require touch screen.
Yeah. Chance,
I've got,
what
like,
obscure
9
mobile games have you played?
YouTube for my Pokemon home.
Yeah, he went on a not just a shiny hunt, but a female shiny Ralts hunt.
I didn't want to trap Ralts. Or specifically a trap Gardevoir.
Understandable. When I got my free Ralts from ZA's, what was it, like early access thing? In fact, it was a female. I'm just like, okay, that's nice. Just because the fact that I've always felt that Pokemon was definitely more feminine in nature, so it just seemed to work for me.
So recently, there was a Pokemon Day where they They do a stream where they announce a bunch of new stuff. A lot of it is stuff that we don't care about, like new shows, something to do with the theme parks that we can't go to because it's in Japan, things like that. But this time around, they actually introduced the next generation, Gen 10, with Winds and Waves. It looks like it's going to be open world again. It looks like you're going to be able to go underwater. And I think it's showing to have better performance than even Scarlet and Violet on the Switch, which is always great. But I think in this call in particular, there's some mixed reactions around it.
Hello, I'm the mixed reactions.
Okay, I'm what you call cautiously optimistic on it. I'm not so sure on it. The environment looked great for one. I think I like to call it like Hoenn 2.0 just because how much it's definitely going to be centered around islands. So that's
it's called Winds and Waves.
Yeah, that doesn't help much, but yeah, the graphics. Granted, it did say that it wasn't the final product, but it definitely looked nice. I'm a fan of the starters. I think they all look great. Yeah, I'm actually kind of interested to see where they go with this one.
There's only one starter that I'm really interested in.
Is it Pom Bomb?
It is.
Yeah, everybody I've seen is like, they love Pom Bomb and they're like screaming about its yet to be disclosed evolutionary line, and everybody's like, it better stay on all fours. I'm just like,
it won't.
It probably
that happens
won't.
all the time. There's an animal like that as a starter. I'm still upset about Incineroar.
Yeah. That felt just like out of left field.
Yeah, like first you get this cat, and then you get a bigger cat, and then suddenly it's a wrestler.
Something that looks like you can sit there and take on Mike Tyson.
Probably. All right, Chance. What are your crazy takes about Winds and Waves?
My crazy take is it looks good. It does look good. I don't think that the waves that they showed in the trailer are going to be what they look like in the final game. I will eat my fucking hat if that's the case.
I'll get you the hat.
I do not think it's going to look the way that they showed it looking in the trailer. Just because of what I've seen at Pokemon Company. Because there are other shots in the trailer where it's other water and it looks like shit. And then there's the actual waves shots where it looks fucking fantastic. I am also cautiously optimistic about this one. I am probably not going to buy it at launch like I did with Scarlet Violet, but it does look better. I like the starters. My controversial takes is that it kind of pissed me off anyway, despite liking it and thinking it looked good.
What pissed you off about it?
So, you know how it's like a full minute of that little fucking thing with the Pikachu wearing clothing?
Yeah, that was kind of drawn out.
And the scrapbook where it's like, oh, look at all this stuff that you used to love. Oh, look at how much stuff that we did in the past that you loved. You see all this stuff that you loved?
Yeah, you're talking about the build-up to the announcement.
And then it cuts, and it goes to the actual trailer, and the first thing that you hear, I don't know if you guys noticed this or not, is the theme from Gen 1, where they again go, hey, look at this thing that you loved.
I did notice that, yeah.
Okay, so it's the rattling the keys syndrome.
Yeah, it's just, it's like they don't think that it can stand on its own because they keep doing this.
Relying on nostalgia rather than letting the game stand on its own two legs.
Yeah.
Or four legs, as most of the community would want.
I think when it comes to music, though, that's kind of common with games, right?
To just reuse something old for the trailer of your new game?
Yeah, okay, maybe you're right about that, actually.
Like, I remember the Breath of the Wild trailer where they played the Breath of the Wild theme, and then the Tears of the Kingdom trailer where they played the Tears of the Kingdom theme.
That's fair. But like normally there's like a franchise motif they would go into.
Yeah, but they would usually have something that would, kind of be its own thing.
Yeah.
Maybe they haven't written that yet.
It's possible, but it's so upsetting. It's just like, if we're just gonna keep nostalgia baiting and then not like actually put the effort in to make, it worth that nostalgia, what's the point?
Oh yeah, no, this is gonna be another game where Charizard gets another thing.
Duh.
He's going to get a
Well, yeah,
regional
yeah.
form. Just watch.
Regional Mega Evolution Z or something.
We're gonna have Cloud Charizard. It's gonna be a fucking flying type.
What do you think the gimmick is going to be?
The Charizard?
Oh no. The gimmick for Winds and Waves.
Oh, I thought they were doing Mega Evolutions again. Am I wrong?
They haven't announced that. We don't even know if Winds and Waves is going to have Mega.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if it was Mega,
something-
I would be okay with that.
Oh, it was the... You remember in the trailer when it showed the windmill and then the big fucking hotel-looking thing with another windmill and the water coming off of it?
Yeah.
I like that. There you go. There's my hot take. I think it looked good. After Scarlet Violet looked like dog shit the entire time.
Well, I think maybe it has a lot to do with the fact that because Resurrection of the Beast is, getting on its last legs for its development cycle, maybe they finally got some people to sit there and kind of get back and working on Generation 10. At least make it look nice.
I think it's more likely that they have multiple teams because I imagine Pokemon Company gives them enough money to have a dedicated Pokemon team. And then they have this other team that can work on other things, potentially. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I'm not a game developer. I don't know the ins and outs of it. I can only base on what we can hear from developers of other teams or just, what other companies have done in the past. So.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, Game Freak and Pokemon Company aren't exactly public with how that works internally.
As far as I know.
So I would say, for the most part, we are more optimistic about Gen 10 than we were after seeing the trailer. Is that right?
It's not so much the trailer that upset me. It's just that callback that, hey, you loved this. It's just over and over and over again. And
I can see where you're coming from on that because I've had several projects that I've rather enjoyed just rely solely off of nostalgia, but the meat and potatoes of it was just terrible. And I just felt like I was just being led by the nose.
To make it even worse, there wasn't even a single damn new Pokemon in that trailer.
except the 3 starters.
I was about to say, the starters don't count?
Not a single new Pokemon.
I like the gecko with the bedroom eyes.
Yeah, that makes sense. That checks out. What are some hopes and wishes for the future of Pokemon?
Let somebody else make a Pokemon game.
Well, they do that sometimes. That was actually the issue with the Gen 4 remakes.
Let someone else make a mainline Pokemon game where they get to make decisions.
That'd be cool. Let Power World do it.
What team made Coliseum? Was it? I'm gonna learn today.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up.
I guess we're all looking it up.
Genius Sonority.
Yeah, the best Pokemon game wasn't even made by Game Freak.
That was literally the first game they've made.
Yeah, along with
I
Gale
don't-
of Darkness.
I haven't even actually asked this. Did either of you two play Pokemon Coliseum?
I played part of it
once.
because we have a GameCube here.
It is so good.
Oh, they did Pokemon Cafe.
Yeah, I guess so. They're still making stuff.
Okay, so they still have a hand in the Pokemon stuff.
But yeah, no, I don't see them ever letting anyone but Game Freak make a mainline Pokemon game, but it would be interesting to see what another team could do with it.
You know what I think would be really interesting, actually?
What's that?
Let the main Nintendo studio do a Pokemon game and see what the fuck we get out of that.
Oh yeah, and get the developers of Zelda to do it.
Oh, God.
Because main Nintendo studios, Zelda, Donkey Kong, Mario, they make good games.
They do.
I haven't played the new Donkey Kong game, but it does look very good.
Dante's going bonanza to play it.
I've only ever played Donkey Kong's Country on the SNES. Oh, I see what you did there. Sorry, that took me a second to catch that.
I just didn't want to give you the satisfaction.
So your wish is for them to let someone else develop a mainline game.
That would be very cool.
All right, what about you, Xander?
I've been really a fan of these newer games having a lot more customizable features, clothing and stuff like that for your character. So I'd say lean a little harder into that. But that's probably my only one. I can't really say anything concrete
That's
at this
another
moment
thing.
in time.
That's another thing.
Uh-oh.
So they introduced that with X and Y because, it's X and Y is France the fashion, right? They carried that over through Sun and Moon, and then Sword and Shield, and then they have it with Scarlet and Violet, albeit very limited. They let you customize the face way more than they ever have in any other game, but the clothes were limited to, I think it was just shoes, hats, gloves, backpack, and that's it. You could pick your outfit from a set choice of outfits of different types of school uniforms, but that's it.
Was
it's stupid.
the school uniform part of anything to do with the story?
Well, I mean, you were going to a school.
I mean, maybe that's why they did it, but
Yeah,
I still would
don't
like
like
to
it.
have the choice.
Yeah, that also annoyed me too. I like customizing my character.
Yeah, that's why I also really appreciated Legends EA. You could more customize the look of your character and have more outfit choices. Although I do think that they could have more choices to choose from. I still think it's
agree.
kind of limited, but it's not. It's better than Scarlet and Violet by a lot.
I was bouncing between mall and mall to mall last night, sitting there trying to find a decent pair of pants.
Yeah.
I just settled on a pair of black cargo pants and called it a day.
Yeah. there
Looks
you go.
weird with the biker jacket, but
So with Gen 10, you would want to see more outfits available.
I'd like to see some more customization.
Yeah.
Whether it's
More
regional or
customization.
not, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. I just want to be able to, wander around, buy some outfits, make myself, the ideal trainer.
Right.
Let my vision come to life.
Oh, something I would love for them to add is the ability to trade Pokeballs with that your Pokemon is in, instead of just being stuck with the one that you got them in.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be nice. Luckily enough, my favorite Pokeballs are more of the low tier ones, so works fine by me.
Wanted to linear also. I forgot to mention that. More linear. Sorry.
I think we're stepping
There's an
away from
idea.
linearity though.
There's an idea for you. How about do you get to create your own Pokeball designs?
So X and Y had something kind of like that where you could put stickers on your Pokeballs. I don't know how they would do like a full Pokeball design though.
I'm just thinking, take the original one, the red and white one, and just make it to where you can change your colors around with it all you want.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. I'm not sitting there saying let's put I don't know, Forza level of customization to it, because Lord knows you're going to see some things.
A new show called Pimp My Ball. All right. So that was my. Oh no, we got one more.
All right.
So Xander had said that he would like to take a look at some crazy takes and reactions to. Is it just Pokemon or is it to Gen 10?
I wanted to kind of throw out some, just takes out there that I've come across and see what your guys' opinions are. Like the whole FireRed LeafGreen ports on the Switch. How, some people think it's perfectly fine, while other people are pissed off about it and telling you to actively go and pirate it. What are you guys' take on that?
I think $20 is a little steep, but I am appreciating that it can be purchased instead of part of the subscription service.
Okay, so I want to defend the $20 price point because it does sound expensive at first, but when you really think about it, I think it's an okay price. I think they could go down, like to $15, maybe $10, but I think 20 is okay, because specifically, number one, you're getting to play it on legal hardware legally. That's really cool. You can play it mobile. You can play it on the TV. That's cool too. But I think specifically, you can have interaction with Pokemon Home. I think that's the big thing.
Yeah, I would say that that's a very good argument to make on that one. Personally, I'm a fan of making sure you try to keep it, as legal as you can. Mostly because the fact is, unless you're playing it on a PC, you're going to have to sit there and figure out how to physically mod physical hardware. And if you don't know what you're doing, or if you're intimidated by it, you're probably going to drop the project before it even gets started. But I'm a fan of also that this allows a new generation of people to try the original games without much modification. I say much because I found that there's actually some small tweaks they've made, like the legendary beasts no longer just appearing when they roar. And,
You can't.
you no longer.
You can't name your rival a slur.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing I noticed, and I think that has a lot to do with the fact that they're anticipating putting it on home.
Yeah, that is.
Because the last thing you want to do is sit there and get pull something into your Pokemon home box and it says there's Pokemon's name is Dick Butt, owned by Fuckface.
I will say though, one issue with it being $20 is the fact that the multiplayer can't be done online. You have to be local.
Yeah, I can see that being a problem.
For the life of me, I can't figure out why they would do that.
That could be something they could add later on. I don't know. But what I do know is that, I do believe $20 might be a little much, considering the fact that originally you could buy these games off of the e-store back on the 3DS. They were like $10
I don't know if LeafGreen and FireRed specifically were available on the 3DS, but the original red-blue versions were.
Right. I still got Yellow and Crystal on my 3DS. So
really, I want them to put out Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. That'd be great.
Yeah, because that's one of the biggest complaints I've heard about these ports is the fact that the national decks cannot be completed because of the missing Pokemon.
Like, but there's speculation that they are going to release those games eventually.
That'd be nice, especially if there's like a way to transfer them from, let's say Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald down to, FireRed and LeafGreen, complete the national decks. Because wasn't one of the mainline titles come out, caused kind of an uproar about that, where no longer you could fill out the national decks?
That started with Sword and Shield because they called it Dexit because with this new game, the very first Switch mainline Pokemon game, you couldn't get or even transfer in all of your Pokemon. There are just going to be some that aren't in the game at all.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of what I was banking on, was that. And I feel like some of that is still kind of floating on these ports as well, where people are like, hurry up, release at least Emerald, just so that way people can at least have access to the national decks, at least for Generation 3.
But also, those are great games. Was there any other takes you want to look at?
Let's see here.
I'm running out of Pokemon takes.
I am, that's for sure. Hell, I kind of snuck one in earlier about the fan base being stuck into two different viewpoints.
Yeah, you got the Gen 1ers or like, every new Pokemon design is awful. I noticed that's a cycle.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's like Gen 1 came out, everybody loved it. Gen 2 came out, it's not as good as the first gen. Gen 3 came out, not as good as second gen, and it just keeps on going down and down and down. It's like now I'm hearing people sitting there talking about, they loved Diamond and Pearl, but I remember hearing that people were hating on that, like hardcore.
Yeah, like with Scarlet and Violet, there's a Pokemon that's a flamingo called Flamigo. They're like, dude, that's just a flamingo. It's like, just look at... you could say that about a bunch of Gen 1 Pokemon.
Yeah. Well, to some extent, I can understand why. Gen 1 Pokemon were designed to be based on animals you'd find in your backyard. Since there's a theme, it's kind of going with every generation.
Yeah, but Flamigo... yeah. Flamigo is a flamingo whose body shape looks like a fist because it's a fighting type Pokemon.
We've seen worse Pokemon designs, okay? Trubbish, I look at that and I'm just like, who came up with that?
Literally garbage.
It wouldn't bother me so much if they leaned into the idea that, things turn into Pokemon from inanimate objects just because of the fact that there's an element of mysticism in there, but they don't really want to tackle it that way. At least not that I've seen.
We got a Chandelier Pokemon.
You have a Pokemon that literally carries a human being's death mask.
Yeah, there you go. All right, is there any closing statements we want to give?
Favorite Pokemon, go.
Metagross.
Eevee. Any of them.
Raichu.
Honestly, these days, I've been more into Leafeon than the other Eevees.
Fair. Me, I'm always going to love my little potato.
Yeah, Raichu's cool. I remember when I was a basic bitch and like Pikachu the most.
All because I was given one of those little Raichu beanie babies when I was real little.
My favorite is a walking supercomputer.
Oh yeah, Metagross he's got a presence, an aura to him that's badass, so I can see that.
Alright, so that's gonna go ahead and do it for this discussion. I think it was really, really good, really, really nice. Is there anything you two want to plug before we go?
I make music sometimes. It's been a while.
Yeah, check them out on Chansu Music on YouTube and Spotify. What about you, Xander? You got something?
I'm just a civilian side fuck up. Ain't much going on here.
Yeah, I got you. All right, well, that's going to do it for this first ever episode of the Aethercast Report. Thank you both for coming and talking with me.
Anytime.
And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.